I'm here to just do a quick g'day. I was very, very blessed this year to be one of the 4 Australian of the Year winners. And for my work as a national advocate and speaker and charity founder for the charity that I founded in 2019, which is called Sober in the Country. And the simple, heartfelt goal and wish of that charity is born from the bush. It's for the bush. I do it and I get up and I work my guts out day and night for communities like this. Not because I'm anti-alcohol, not because I care if someone can enjoy a beer. My husband loves a beer, just quietly. But because there are people like me in our communities who get into trouble with grog. And I was that person. And in 2015, I nearly died from alcohol addiction. And I was so close to death, my family was planning my own funeral. It's not a nice place to be. And you'll find that most people in most organisations are built from lived experience. And that is why I created a charity to talk about grog. Now, can you honestly think of a harder topic in the world to talk about than grog in the bush? There's nothing harder, eh? Like, I promise you, nothing is harder. And that's why I do it, because someone had to. And who is better qualified to speak about alcohol in the bush than a recovered alcoholic from the bush? Who's articulate and mad? Me. I'm 7 years happily, joyfully, delightedly sober. Don't touch alcohol anymore. Love my life without it, right? So don't feel sorry for me or sad for me. I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't change it for the world. What I do now and what I do through this charity is we help other bush people who might want to just cut back or quit. But what I'm going to do, instead of telling you that, I've got a video and then I've got a second video. They're teeny tiny and they're really short. And I'm going to ask the magic man behind us in the audio box, dear, if you can hear me, would you mind playing the intro one? Because this sums up who we are really beautifully. That's a great little video, right? It sums up our charity. It sums up what we're doing. It's beautiful. And gentlemen, I have a video that I especially want you to see. But I would like to let you know a couple of things. With this charity, with this conversation, with this movement we've created, and I promise you it's a movement, hey, it is so beautiful. We will be going to air on Monday night at 8 p.m. on Australian Story. We've already had one episode go to air, and we're so lucky we're getting a second crack at the title, which is unheard of. It doesn't happen very often, let alone with some random bush chick. So yay for us. So please have a look on Monday night at 8 p.m. And also, did you know this? In about, I don't know, what's the time now, 1:30? At 2 o'clock today, they're televising a Zoom call between the 4 Australian of the Year winners and the Queen. That was really quite cool, I have to say, meeting the Queen. That's where things have gone for this little random girl from the country and this charity. We are making very big waves, and we do it pretty much without support. And the reason it's gone so far and so wide so quickly is because there's not a single family I've ever come across in the country that has not been impacted indirectly or directly by grog. We all know that that's true. I'm going to show you a video in a second, but before I do that, I would love you to please pull your phones out, have a look on your interwebs, search Sober in the Country. We're all over social media, we're all over everything, and in that website you will find a whole bunch of information, including some help. If you've got a mate in the bush who's drinking a bit much, a bit too often, all sorts of stuff, all of our media, everything is on there. But for the men and the lovers of the men, this is a beautiful video that was played the night I was awarded Australian of the Year. I did not know this film had been made. I did not know it was going to be played. And I had to stand up and do a live cross on TV for 2.5 minutes after this. And it was one of the most intensely emotional experiences of my life, going through that awards process. I will never be able to explain it. But this little video that was put together is a very dear friend of mine, a bloke called Matty. Never knew him until 5 years ago, but he'd been watching my stuff back when it was a little less known. And Matty was a fat, angry, drunk dude. You know, he was one of those guys who'd go to the pub and drink rum and then start bashing his mates, you know. He was not a good guy when he drank. He was always a beautiful man, but not a good man when he drank. Matty doesn't drink anymore, and everything in his life that has changed happened because he met other sober people and he had a yarn and he decided, you know what, I'm pretty sure my life would be better without grog. So he's a beautiful, living, walking, talking example of what we're doing every single day all across the bush, and I cry every time I see this because it's so beautiful. And I was very fortunate to work one-on-one with Matty. I don't do that anymore. I've barely got time to pat my own dogs now, but yeah, this is gorgeous. So Mr. Soundman, if you could play the next one with Matthew Tonkin, that'd be amazing. Oh, isn't that the most beautiful thing you've ever seen? Did anyone get teary? Oh, I can hardly watch that. What I was saying before about Matty, you know what? Today he's lost 40 kilos, his hair's growing back, and he has a new girlfriend. And guess who she is? She's my bestie. So I've inherited the most beautiful things in my life, including an extra bestie. That's one story of so many. And it's all happening because we're daring to go out there and just say to people, when someone says no, thank you, or not today, just let it be okay. Just leave it at that. Help us keep changing this culture in the bush, you guys, because the change begins from the top down. And so when you go back into your homesteads, your lives, your rec clubs, your rec rooms, your conference rooms, have a think about catering, have a think about what you're doing, have a think about what you're perpetuating, because there are so many people in our communities who are resonating with this message. And it's not about judgment, it's actually all about inclusion. And that's why it's working so beautifully. And that's what we're doing, and that's who we are. That is Sober in the Country, and that's the core of our work. Bush communities are everything, and every single one of you has the power to go forth and have a little ripple effect with what you're doing. So I hope some of that and some of this has stuck in your minds, and it's just been beautiful to visit Charters Tower. So I'm going to hand back over for your next speaker. Thank you very much, guys.